Do you want to crush all arguments about money in your household? Join us for this episode.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Edgy Entrepreneur Podcast. So glad you joined us again today. We are your hosts. I'm Daniel Tribby alongside.
I am Coach Oriana Guevara.
So awesome. Let's get into this second part of this money mindset. So last episode we discussed money mindset and how it is that most people create a negative thought process around money in their life. So our whole last episode was dedicated just to talking about how can you fix that poor mindset around money and turn it into one where you see money as positive, right?
Yes, and we also talked about how your existing wealth consciousness actually perpetuates into your reality and becomes the thing you bring to life through your business and career.
Absolutely. And so this week, we wanted to talk about some practical things that you could use to start actually creating more wealth in your life via some different ways to look at your bank accounts, whether they be personally, professionally, but different little aspects that now you've corrected the mind fuck that you have, and now we're going to go into practical things that are actually going to help you put some of these things into practice, right?
Yeah. I think for one, we're not financial professionals.
Yeah.
I think it's important to say that.
Big disclaimer, we
are
are not
financial professionals,
yes.
But we have real life experiences from our personal lives and from our professional lives, careers, and businesses. We also spend probably extraordinary amount of time, probably more than the average person, educating ourselves on all kinds of topics that would support the people that we serve on a regular basis. And so that's the perspective from which we come to you, is what we've seen that works, right? Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, if you have a mindset that's disempowering around wealth and finances, you could have all the tools and strategies in the world. For one, you're not going to know what to use, and you're not going to know when to use it, and you're not going to know how to use it or implement it in a way that's actually going to get the results that you want. Mm-hmm. So that's why we wanted to make this a two-part series where we first tackled, let's get all the head trash out of the way in terms of wealth consciousness and money mindset. Right. Now we're going to give you some practical tips and strategies, resources that you could implement, hopefully now that you're feeling energetically lighter and more empowered. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, like we always say that
those tools.
Yeah, we always say that 80% of your life, whether it's personal or professional, is mental, right? And 20% is the action. So this particular episode is about the action that we want to put into place here. So, and if us not being financial advisors turns you off, feel free to take the 17 years of my professional life and start reading and doing all the things that I've done. And I'm sure, Oriana, you've got near the same amount of time. If you care to take that 35 years combined in the professional life and figure that out yourself, have at it. But we're going to condense a lot of that into this 30 to 40 minute podcast for you. So get comfortable in your car seat or if you're walking your dog or wherever you are, but let's get after how we can structure some bank accounts on a personal level first, right? Right.
I think the other thing, honestly, if you're listening to this podcast, here's why you should stay, which is, we're also bringing to you the thing that we see on a regular basis over and over with our clients and the people that we serve in terms of how they're actually struggling to implement these tools, or what are the problems that come up for them in their business and in their personal life, and especially in their relationships when it comes to money management. And the tools that we give our clients to be able to resolve money management conflicts in their life and relationships are going to be some of the things we're sharing with you now.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are a business owner or not, hopefully you have some working income. If you're a business owner, you better be taking a salary. I feel like that's an entire other episode we could talk about. But if you're a business owner, you better be paying yourself, right? But then the question is, what do you do with that money once you have it? Whether it's working income and you have a job, or you own a business and you're making income that way, what do you do with that money? We know that 80% of the population, right, will never be really financially free. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're buying things that they shouldn't buy because they've never had money. Now they do. So how can we structure our bank accounts and the money that we make? How do we separate it in a way that helps us create real wealth, generational wealth even?
Right, that's the whole point.
Yeah. So I think you and I probably have a closed system where we use 6 different bank accounts, right? So let's break those down, right? So we'll take the first one. Let's say that however you get paid, right, the money gets emptied into this one account, right? And our first thing that we need to do is keep 55% of that money in that account, right? And that money is going to go to paying for everyday life stuff, my bills, my home, my car, my student loans, insurance, groceries, child care, all the
gas,
all of that stuff. And some of you are thinking 55%. Holy shit, right?
Yeah.
So
that's how, if it's costing you more than that to live, that's an indicator right there.
Right, absolutely. So what would your suggestions be for those people who just went, my expenses are like 80%?
Yeah.
What are some good tactics that people can do to get the expense column down?
Yeah, I mean, first you have to look at the expenses and see what's on there.
Right.
And then once you've seen what's on there and you assessed it, get rid of the stuff that doesn't add value to your life. I can't tell you how many people are paying for just absolute nonsense on subscriptions and memberships on a monthly basis for things that they don't even use.
Right.
Things that they think they're going to use because they had a goal at some point in time, so they got that gym membership, right? Haven't used that gym membership for the entire first quarter, right? Or just used it in January and then fell off.
Yeah.
Or they are paying for television subscriptions, newspaper subscriptions, and others that are either magazines, digital stuff, paper stuff. Like, you got to look at that stuff, and it's really easy for a lot of people to look at that and go like, oh, come on, who cares? It's $5.99, it's $7.99, it's $9.99. That stuff adds up, and the next thing you know, you're paying $100 a month for stuff that you don't even need, or maybe even more than that. Maybe you're in the $200 to $300 range on stuff you don't even need. What could you do with that money?
Absolutely. And I think the other thing that happens is this Parkinsons Law idea, right? Where if I have more, then I'll use more. Right. So if you go from, say, making $70,000 a year in your job and you get a raise, now you're making $80,000 a year. Most people are like, oh, I got a raise, now I can afford, and they buy a whole litany of shit that they don't need. And it's like, you've been surviving on $70,000 for how long? So
when they were already stretched at that number.
Right.
So now they could have gone to, let's say, 80 and been a little bit more comfortable, right? Like loosen that stretch a little bit, but they didn't see it that way. They saw it as
I have more money.
I have more money. They also probably interpreted like, I'm getting a $10,000 raise. And as we all know, right, when you consider taxation and everything else that gets deducted from that.
It's really like a $4,000 raise.
Right, exactly, right? Or for those of you that get bonuses, you know how heavily bonuses are taxed? Are you kidding me? It's like a 35% tax structure on a bonus payment. Absolutely. So, but people are spending that full bonus in their head before they even hits the bank account.
Or your tax return money. Woo, I get a return. I got $2,500 back. What am I going to go buy with this shit?
Yeah.
Right? Stop doing that. Take a look at your expenses. What are you spending money on? Where can you cut back to get the expense column down to 55% of your working income on a monthly basis, right? And then the second thing that we're going to do is we're going to trash the stupid savings account that you have that makes 0.0172% on the money you put in there. It's garbage. Get rid of it. It's not making you any money. Right. But instead, what you're going to do is create a financial freedom account. And 10% of your money, those of you who are doing addition right now, 55 to bills, 10% to financial freedom, that's 65 total, okay? So that 10% goes to financial freedom. Let's define financial freedom before people think that financial freedom means I'm a millionaire or a billionaire, okay?
Yeah,
that's not what it is.
Yeah, please do.
So financial freedom is not the fact that I have more money than God, all right? Financial freedom is simply the fact that I make money off of investments. I have passive income that pays for my lifestyle, so that I work because I choose to, not because I have to. Right.
And there lies the freedom.
Right. And
the
there
ability
lies
to
the
choose.
Freedom. Exactly. Financial freedom. So if your lifestyle means $75K a year, then your financial freedom needs to generate $75K a year. Right? If it's $200,000, then find a way to generate passive income that's $200,000. If it's $1 million, do that. But you have to decide, what does financial freedom look like for you, and how do passive income streams make that money for you? Now, the fun part about this count is that the money never gets spent here. Right? When I say that, people go, what do you mean it never gets spent? I have to do something with it. Yes, you invest it. It's a soldier for you. It goes and recruits more soldiers and makes more money. Right? So you're going to do things like stocks. What are some other good investments that we might roll in real estate.
Yeah, real estate, invest in real estate, invest in other potential collectibles. I mean, there's crypto.
Bonds.
A lot of people are in the cryptocurrency area right now. Super risky, but you know, if you have the bandwidth to learn how to do it or do it well, or if you have like the money to play with, then sure, that might be something you want to look into. If you want to hire somebody that knows how to do it and is an expert in that field, then that's an option too.
Absolutely. And that money has to work for you. So that 10% goes and makes you more money. And for every dollar you make, you're going to put 10% right back into the financial freedom account. It's going to continue to make money for you. Right. So this is something that creates long-term wealth for you as well as financial freedom, because you don't have to work because you've made smart investment choices. I highly recommend that you don't just go out and start buying stocks or just buying real estate, but find people who've already done it, get a financial advisor, learn from people who have been there. Don't make stupid decisions, right? But I find that the riskiest game to play in the financial freedom account world is not playing the game at all, sitting back and letting your money rest in a savings account and not doing shit for you.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So what else in that financial freedom account? What else can we invest in? Did we touch them all?
I think we did.
Touch some businesses.
Yeah, invest in other people's
bonds.
businesses. You could be an angel investor in other organizations. You can invest in startups. You know, you can invest in the hopes and dreams of someone else you believe in who has a great business idea.
Right.
You know?
And this money gets used either on a quarterly basis or on a yearly basis. I want to mention that so everybody understands. Like, you don't just monthly do this. You let it stockpile for per quarter or 6 months or 3 quarters or a year. And that's when you move it, all right? So you let it stockpile so that you can invest. And then the more money that starts coming back to you, the bigger investments you can make, right? So you may only be able to invest $6,000 the first year, but then the next year you're able to invest 10, and the year after that 20. So you just continue to grow that financial freedom so those assets pour in for you, okay? Now, account number 3 is going to be our long-term savings for spending. All of you are like, but you said no savings account. I did. But this is still a checking account, and it's for savings that buy you something.
Yes,
okay?
long-term.
Right. So this is going to be a car, a house, what else? A TV, a vacation.
Vacation, yeah. I think that's the thing that a lot of people save up for, that and real estate, houses, you know. But it's the thing, you know, you might be saving for your kids' college tuition, might be saving for, you know, something else, rainy day, long term, you know, just in case, whatever it is.
Right.
But this gives you an opportunity to have that in an account where you're never going to find yourself in the position that most Americans find themselves in, which is that any minimal expense that comes up for them all of a sudden is a crisis. You know, like, oh my gosh, I need new tires. Like,
right. My car breaks down. I need a hot water heater.
Knew you were going to need new tires at some point in time on your vehicle, right? Like, yeah, like, it's $500 or $700 or $1,000. Like, most people, you know, having to pay out $1,000 that they didn't expect to on any particular month on something that they need now becomes an urgency that can actually breaks their bank, you know?
Absolutely. And as you made a great point there, this is the emergency account, right? So I have money set back for things that I want, you know, but if heaven forbid the car breaks down, the hot water heater goes out, I need HVAC, your child gets in an accident, you got to pay money at the hospital, whatever it may be, that money is there for you.
Yeah,
right?
That deductible on your insurance.
Right. Yep. So it's there and it's ready, okay? So if you're keeping count still, that's 75%. Our next little one is a big one for you and I. And so this is another 10% account. So now we're up to 85. Okay.
Yep.
So this one goes to education.
Yep.
All right. This is not education for your kids, for your nephew, for anybody other than yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So why is education important and why do most people neglect it? Drop some knowledge here.
I mean, I'm gonna say, like, for most entrepreneurs, most people in small business want to start a small business. You need support. You need support. You need to hire somebody to do things for you, which early on you might not be able to, or you need to learn how to do it yourself, right? Or you just need some basic, like, business training, sales training, mindset coaching, maybe relationship coaching, right? Maybe a coach that can actually provide all of those services for you. You know, you need to be able to pay to get a coach or mentor.
Exactly.
To support you.
Yeah. What seminar are you going to go to? What books are you going to buy this year?
Those conferences you want to fly to. Those masterminds you want to go to. I mean, it's the worst when you see something that you want to go to. You know that being a part of that community would be a game changer for you. You know that you could learn so much from that particular coach or professional who's hosting it. And then you look at the price point and you're like, oh, I don't have money for that.
Right.
And it's, it's because you didn't anticipate that you might want to do that at any point in time.
Right.
You might have anticipated all them vacations, but where's your anticipation for the growth that you wanted to engage in this year?
Right. This is so great because I just saw today on social media as a meme and I shared it. And it says, $999 for a business course. Nope, can't do that, too expensive. $999 for the new iPhone. Got to have that. Yeah. Right? And people will do that. You think to yourself, well, I need that. No. That's your long-term savings for spending. I want the new phone, so I save money. I'm going to buy it. Yeah. Right? But put an extra 10% aside so you can grow yourself as an individual. Improve your toolbox. What's in your mind that you can use that's going to make you more successful later? Maybe you don't know what to do with your financial freedom account. So maybe you need to take a course on stocks. Maybe you need to take a real estate course. Do something that advances your mindset, right? And stop making excuses as to why that money's not useful because you want to buy more dumb shit. Yeah. Commodities and material shit that isn't going to take you anywhere or your business, much less. So you'll find a lot of people that just kind of have this mindset that after either high school or after university, like, oh, I'm done. I don't have to do anything else. Yep. And literally the entire premise of this podcast was based on the fact that building a business is going to bring up all of the shit inside of you that you've never addressed. Exactly. So even if you were successful in a career prior to engaging in business as a small business owner or entrepreneur, that's great. So were we. And also, we both still have significant amount of thousands of dollars on coaches and and programs and to better ourselves so that we could learn what we needed to learn to be successful in business and serve the people we want to serve, Yeah, and I think the issue is the instant gratification part, right? So when I spend $1,000 to go take a course, I get a bunch of knowledge, but then I have to put that knowledge into play, so I don't get instant gratification, right? But I go buy a new phone, I have instant gratification. Oh yeah, right. So so let's pick this apart just for a second. I know we didn't plan to do this, but we're going to do it because it's fun, and we're going to be sporadic. So if I have a plan to say buy the new iPhone or to go on this extravagant vacation, but I also am tempted to buy other dumb shit along the way that pulls me away from my goal, and I tell myself, I create a habit in my brain and I say, nope, I'm not going to do it, but I don't get the instant reward, which my brain wants and needs. We need instant gratification sometimes, right? So instead of buying that and sitting at home and pouting and feeling no gratification, put that money into your long-term savings account, right? So you think, okay, I'm going to go buy this senseless new iPhone. No, I'm not. I don't need it. Instead, the money that is there, I'm going to put into my long-term savings account or my growth account so that I can use it later. And now I have instant gratification because I'm still moving towards a goal, right? Because those who hold out for the long-term goal get more satisfaction out of life than those who are looking for the instant gratification. Right. Yes, they're happier long-term. Yeah. And let the instant gratification just be seeing that number go up. Exactly. And knowing that there's a dream behind that and that's going to fund the dream. 1,000%. All right, so we're at 85 for those who are keeping count. All right, I'm saving the best account for last because this is the fun one. So stay on because we're going to get to this last account, which is everybody's like, when am I going to have fun? We're getting there. All right, so we did 55 to bills. We did 10% to long-term savings. Yeah. We did 10% to education. Yep. And another 10 to investments. Another 10 to your financial freedom, right? Now we have a 5%er, okay? This is your giving account. Yeah. All right? Tell us why it's important for you to give money, or if you can't come up with the 5% for money, give your time, right? Time's important. Absolutely. So if you can't give to a local charity or to a local fund or to a local group, go spoon, feed people, go work at a homeless shelter, do something. Food banks, do something like that. Whatever fulfills your heart. Right. So why is giving so important? I know you have great stuff on this. I mean, contribution is one of the 6 human needs.
It's one of the top 6, and it could be within that. I'm not going to give it a number in that top 6 human needs, because for everybody it could be different. Like, it could be your number 1, it could be my number 4, right? Whatever.
Sure.
But for everybody, it's one of the top 6 human needs. So to get your needs for contribution met, it is nice to have a plan for that.
Absolutely.
Right? And so while, once again, you can get your needs for contribution met by donating your time, but many people don't have time to donate, or are unable to do that for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. But if you have an alternative, right, which says I can donate my money to this cause, to this organization, to this person even, that needs it, that is another way to make a contribution and to fulfill that personal need for contribution that we all have within.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think too, if you're a business owner, that is one great way to meet new people and to bring more business is by giving time or giving money. Right?
Yeah.
You go to, so I give time and money in previous years here in Orlando to the Fisher House, which, for those of you who don't know, is a home for families of veterans who can come and stay while their loved one is being treated at the VA hospital.
Oh, nice.
So I have donated time and money to them via my business.
Very nice.
Which leads to more referrals for me,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not doing that just for the referrals. I'm doing it because you want to be part of a community that connects and gives.
Right.
And when you give, people will give back to you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, and if you can tie that into your business, it's probably because it's already part of your organization's mission, right? To be in service.
Give back to the community.
And to give back to the community in some way. So if that is a part of your mission already, whether that's your personal mission or your organizational, your business mission, then what a great way to actually live out and, put some traction behind that mission. One of the worst things that happens in a lot of organizations, I'm talking from my perspective as an HR practitioner for 15 years now, is when your staff, your employees see that you don't walk the talk, right? So you're saying a bunch of good things about what you care about, and then there's nothing in your organization that actually shows that you espouse those values,
right?
Or that you're willing or able to. So, if you're looking for an opportunity, there it is.
It's great. It's great.
Create the account. Yeah.
Give. All right. So the fun one. Everybody wants to know. We're at 90%. All right. So our 6th account. This is your Playtime money.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people love this, and a lot of people have problems with it. If you're one of those people who has problems letting money go, you are going to struggle with this account. But this is the fun money. This is 10% of the money that you make every month that you need to go blow on instant gratification.
Yeah.
Go plan a weekend with the girls. Go get a massage and say, I want this masseuse, and here's some extra money, buy me lunch. Like, go all in. Act like a rich person, right? Go stay at the Ritz, or if the Ritz is not your thing, go take a weekend trip, golf outing with the boys. Go watch football and drink beer, whatever it is, but go act like you don't give a shit, right? Go spend that 10%, blow all of it. You are required to do so.
Yeah,
because
save
you
it
have
for a
that inner
big
child.
thing, or buy a bunch of little things, but spend the money so that you can get that out of yourself, and you can actually play, and you can allow your inner child to have access to play, right? In ways that make sense for you, for your adult self. Right. So, I think this is one of the best accounts to have, especially if you're in a relationship. This is super important. I'll clarify, but if you are in a relationship where you share money, right? This is what I'm talking about. Right. If you're not in the kind of relationship where you share money into a household, then that's different. But if you're in a relationship where we each have funds coming in to fund a household, this is one of the biggest pain points for couples, and one of the biggest points of contention when it comes to finances. Is, you didn't ask me if you could buy that, and like, what money are you using to do that? Oh, God. Those kinds of arguments that they can turn really, really ugly. It's like, who do you think you are? I bring more money into the household. You should have spoken to me before making that purchase.
Yeah, money is the number one reason for divorce,
It
right?
is. Finances are one of the top reasons for divorce. That might be number 2 now after the pandemic.
After everybody spent too much time together, realized they didn't like each other.
Right. I call that proximity overload. But finances still came up as a really, really big issue during this past year because a lot of people lost their jobs and their employment, right? And so it's still, it never has ceased to be a point of contention in general society,
right.
And within individuals. So it probably never will cease to be a point of contention within relationships, and especially if you have two different money mindsets and outlooks on wealth. And if you have two different outlooks on saving and spending,
right.
Oftentimes one person's a saver, the other one's a spender. And if you don't actually implement any of the resources or, like, for example, the accounts that we're suggesting, right?
Absolutely.
If you implement some of this, you will actually find yourself being able to alleviate some of the conflict in a relationship that comes from, why did you spend that? Why did you buy that?
Right.
And that's not for the household.
Yeah, there's an easy way to curb all of this conversation too, right? I'm a firm believer that if you're in a relationship, okay, you should have your own individual bank accounts as well as a joint one. Some of you listening are like, what the fuck? And I'm like, that's 1,000% true. Yeah. You need to have your own money to do your own thing. And guess what? If Oriana, let's say you and I are married, all right, we have a joint account. We're not, by the way, for those who are listening and wondering. But if we had a joint account.
Yeah.
Then we would pay all of our joint shit out of those 6 accounts that we would create. We would create financial freedom together. We would pay our bills together. We would go to courses. We would do all these things. We would take our play money and we'd go play together. Yeah. Right? That's what we would do. Okay? And what we would also do is I would have my own individual 6 accounts labeled the same way I just spoke out for you, or we just listed out for you guys. You would have your same 6. And here's how you do this. You agree on an amount. Let's say together, I'm just going to do this for math. These are not real numbers, okay? So don't judge me. Let's say that together we make 10 grand together.
Yeah.
Okay? For the household. Okay? Let's say you bring in $6K and I bring in $4K. All right? You're the breadwinner in this relationship, okay? Does that mean you get more money for your personal account?
No.
And no, it does not. We both agree to take the same amount, regardless of who makes more money. Right. So let's say you're going to take 1,000 and I'm going to take 1,000. The other 8,000 goes into the joint pot to support our joint lifestyle.
Right.
Your 1,000 becomes something that supports your individual things that you want, and my 1,000 goes through my money management system to create things that I want. Right. Same 6 accounts. A lot of you are like, oh my God, I'm going to have 12 accounts. Yes, you are. But it's a very, very easy way to balance your money.
Yeah, and it eliminates so much conflict, because when you do have to make a purchase for the household, let's say, okay, the dishwasher went out, now we have to make a purchase for the household. Now that's a conversation, and it's pretty clear right off the bat where the money comes from.
Exactly.
Whereas if it's like, hey, I really need a massage, or I really want this whatever thing that is going to make me feel good to have.
Then use your money.
Right. It's like, I don't have to go to my spouse and ask permission to say, hey, can I buy this?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of men and women engaging in that type of conversation, which creates a whole other different type of dynamic in a relationship that isn't conducive to intimacy.
Exactly.
And all of these conversations around finances that create conflict are killing your intimacy.
Absolutely. And I think too, I'm a big beach volleyball player, and the ball that we use to play is a $75 ball, right? So if I come home with 3 brand new volleyballs and you look at me and say, excuse me, I can just say, I bought it with my money. End of conversation. Because you took 1,000 to spend and move through your management system. I took 1,000 to spend through my management system. If I chose to use my play money to buy volleyballs, that's what I chose to use it for.
Yeah.
Right?
I really want people to see the ease in this, right? The ease that gets created by having the conversations up front about, like, this is how we're going to distribute these funds across these accounts, for us, for you, for me. Because later on, conversations sound more like, where'd you get the money to do that? Where did that money come from? Oh, well, last month you spent this much on that, so this month I can spend this much on this. No. Right? And like, now we start getting to a place where couples are sounding like a couple of teenagers or, elementary school kids over, fighting over something ridiculous.
Right.
And I know it's not ridiculous. I don't want to minimize it, because the pain behind some of these conversations and conflicts is real.
Facts.
Obviously, because it leads to divorce and breakups in a lot of cases. But, some of that squabbling, right? Like what it sounds like. Yeah, well, you did this last month, so I can do this. Like that's what I'm referring to, right?
Yep.
Is that squabbling gets to a point where it sounds and it looks really childish and disrespectful, and you can actually like avoid all of that nonsense in your relationship by creating the structure, even though we understand that what we're suggesting has some front end work, labor associated with it. Yeah, but man, absolutely. I'd rather do that personal and relationship and emotional labor up front and have those conversations than do it later on.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
In conflict.
Yeah. 1,000%. And this type of system will set you up to avoid a lot of those stupid arguments, right, in the long run.
Yeah.
Couple things that I would say roadblocks, right? People are going to be like, oh, well, how much am I going to have to pay to open these accounts? Well, be smart. Go to your bank and say, I want to open 6 accounts and I don't want to pay for any of them. But if you're going to make pay, I only want to pay for one. Right? If you're going to make me pay, I only want to pay for one. If they tell you we can't do that, another bank will. I promise you. Oh, yeah. Go shop.
Go to your credit union. Right. Check out some online banks.
Right. For every $1 you give a bank, they're legally allowed to own 10 against your $1.
Right.
Those fuckers, right, are very willing and able to give you 6 accounts for the price of one. Yeah. Okay. Then the next question I always get is, but I put everything on a credit card. Am I supposed to get 6 credit cards? No. The credit card company doesn't give a rat's ass where they get their money from. So if you pull your credit card bill at the end of each month and get ready to pay it, you can write checks from each individual account and put all the checks in the payment and send it off to the credit card company. They don't care. Or you're like, oh, I pay it online. Well, fine. Then pay it from all 6 accounts if that's what you want to do. They don't care where they get their money from as long as they get their money, right? So don't let those 2 questions limit you from actually trying this. Yeah. It does take a little legwork up front, like you mentioned, but it does make your life so much easier in the long run.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, marriage is hard enough.
Facts.
Right? Partnering is hard enough. Just set yourself up for success as early as you can. And like, why the hell not? And quite frankly, like if you do this and it doesn't work for you, do something else. Right? Like how many books are out there about how to manage money, right? Like one of the ones we've talked about a lot is Profit First.
Yeah, Mike Michalowicz, great guy, great author. And he's from Virginia, where I'm from too. Go Hokies.
Every single business owner needs to read Profit First. I didn't say you should. I said you need to.
Yes.
Because that book is 1, life-changing, and number 2, it's going to make you realize that you should be paying yourself off the top. And the vast majority of small business owners are not doing that. They're putting everything towards covering their expenses and paying for everything else. And then the little tiny couple of cents that might be left, they're pulling that out for themselves. Right?
Yeah, this is your business. You started it. Why are you paying everything and everyone else before you pay yourself? And everybody's like, well, because that's what it takes. No, what it takes is for you to cut the expenses down, figure out how many hats you need to wear to get the job done. And as you start creating more revenue, then you start adding to your expense list, not the other way around. Right. All right. So if we're going to move to a quick conversation about expenses and profitability and taxes in your, as it relates to Michalowicz's book, and this is, we'll give a quick synopsis. I highly recommend you read this, but the quick synopsis is that if you're, let's say you're a small business owner, you're a sole proprietor, you're a solopreneur, you're the only person there, your expense load should be 30% or less. You should be keeping 50% of the revenue that you make, right? And then what's left over gets split between taxes and profit. So you keep a certain percentage for your taxes, usually 10%, right? You pay quarterly estimated taxes. Again, please use a CPA. Right? I'm not a I am a healthcare provider. I am not a financial advisor. Please use a CPA for this. And then the other 10% goes to your profit, which means your business is profitable from day one. Right. So you use that money to grow your business or pay yourself a bonus every quarter, right? So that's kind of his structure to the business world. Definitely recommend that book. If you're in healthcare, I recommend you read mine because I kind of structure it differently because healthcare expenses have to be higher because you need staff for a different kind of staff for your healthcare. So your expenses are usually higher, equipment, staffing, that kind of stuff. Sure. So if you're in healthcare, I would tell you, yes, it's a great book to read, but I have a financial chapter in my book Unfucking Private Healthcare that'll kind of help steer you in a similar direction, but a little better when it comes to the percentages of allocation to certain bank accounts.
Good.
Yeah.
Any other recommendations that you would offer?
Yeah, from a book-wise, T. Harv Eker, super smart guy. A lot of what we talked about today, I've taken some of his courses, have come from a combination of his courses and an array of other ones too. But T. Harv Eker, if I can get that out, has a really great book about money mindset that you can read that'll kind of help you, one, unlock some of the mental issues that we talked about in the previous episode, and then two, give you a little headway on why setting up your financial success via separate accounts will be beneficial to you, kind of what we've talked about in this episode.
Right. Yeah.
So I would love to, in closing, because I really want to stress the importance of the play account. And you have a really great way of talking about your inner child and why you need to feed it.
Yeah. So
can you, before we close this, I want everybody to listen to Oriana talk about their inner child and why it's important to feed them. So those of you who are like, oh, I don't want to spend money, I'm afraid to let money go, right? The ones of you who play, like I do, have no issues with this conversation. But those of you who have problems letting money go, listen up.
Yeah. I mean, the inner child conversation is important, and I think it's one that most people ignore because it doesn't, they don't see the logic, they don't see how it makes sense, they don't see how it impacts them today. It's like, I'm not a kid anymore. Oh, are you? Right? Like, here's the thing. Everybody has an inner child. Most people don't treat their inner child very kindly. Most people ignore their inner child and don't allow it to actually play a role in their life, meaning a healthy role is what I'm talking about. For the vast majority of people, your inner child is wilding out and playing very much a role in your life. I like to say they're actually in the driver's seat of your life.
Right.
And it's because this is all subconscious and unconscious, you don't even realize it. So here's what happens when we don't engage in the playtime, the rest and relaxation time, the self-care, really. When you are either supposed to be working or want to be working or want to be moving towards your goals, your inner child will show up and be like, fuck that. That's not what we're doing today, right?
Exactly.
And again, it's so subconscious, you don't even realize it. So then people start to engage in what's called self-sabotage. All kinds of different forms of self-sabotage, everywhere from, procrastinating, seeking out only what feels good, which obviously is not something that's going to be conducive to you moving towards your goals or actually accomplishing things you've never done before, because it feels like you're going to fail. It doesn't feel good, right? It feels like I feel dumb or I feel stupid doing this because I'm not an expert in it, right? So it takes time to actually get there. Mm-hmm. So when we don't feed and we ignore the inner child, we don't take care of ourselves, at some point in time, we know that the body just says, no, not doing that, right? So we end up manifesting a sickness or illness or disease, right? Which is dis-ease, the lack of ease is what leads to illness and sickness. So whatever that might look like for you, body becomes susceptible to illness and disease. But inner child also becomes susceptible to boredom, procrastination, sabotage, all kinds of different things that we end up manifesting. And then later on we go, man, why did I do that?
Right.
Wish I hadn't done that. I should have taken more advantage of my time. I should have done this, should have done that, right? Like you're just going to piss all over yourself with a bunch of should haves. Right. And the fact of the matter is that there's something else that's missing. When oftentimes when we're like just trying to like bulldoze through life to get things done, we're not taking that pause to take care of ourselves and just kind of self-soothe, really go within, reflect, and say, like, what is it that I need right now?
Exactly.
Those are the things that we fail to do when we're bulldozing through life and bulldozing through, the world and trailblazing and all the stuff that the high performers that we work with do. Mm-hmm. So where does that put you on your list of things to do, right? Last. That puts you last. Yeah. And when you put yourself last, there's always a consequence to that. There's always a consequence to that because it's going to show up in the way that you operate in your life. It's going to show up in probably with your family and friends first, because you'll first start by, declining their invitations and opportunities to be in community with them. And then it's probably going to show up in your business second through sabotage, boredom, burnout, and things like of that nature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Such an important concept to grasp for all of you. And I hope that resonates with all of you and how important it is to feed your inner child once a month. 10% of your money, go play, go have fun, act like a rich idiot, go spend and do things that you normally wouldn't do, or things that are your favorite pastime that you wish you had more time to do. Create it. Golf with the buddies, spa day with the girls, whatever it may be. Okay, shopping, whatever it is that feeds that little child. Listen to it and go feed it. Well said, Oriana.
That back burner stuff that you're like, I wish I had time to this. Well, this account's going to help you have time to do that.
Exactly. I love it. Well, I hope these these two episodes in this little mini series around money mindset and managing your wealth and creating less arguments in the family and more financial freedom has resonated with all of you. We look forward to hearing your comments on this episode. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and tell all your friends to subscribe to, like it, rate us, review us. If you want to connect with us, you can go to edgyentrepreneur.podcast.com. You can send us an email with any comments that you have, any questions that might be burning down deep inside you, but definitely connect with us. We love hearing from our audience and kind of giving you guys as much knowledge as we can so that you can create the life that you're put here to create.
Absolutely. Yeah. We created this podcast for you, and every Tuesday we are on Clubhouse hosting a Clubhouse talk. We actually created a club called Edgy Entrepreneur that you can become a member of. And so when you are in our club or when you join our Clubhouse talks every Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, we're actually talking about very similar topics, but you actually have the opportunity to engage in a dialogue with us. Which is great because you, as a listener, you don't have the opportunity to ask questions or engage in dialogue, but you can actually do that with us on the Clubhouse Talks. Hop on into on any of our sessions. You can ask us questions about whatever it is that we're talking about that day, but you can also ask us questions and send us DMs on Instagram about anything you might have heard on a podcast episode that you wanted more information about or just wanted to chat.
Excellent. Love it. All right, we'll bid you guys adieu for this episode. Make sure you come back for the next one because we're getting deep into habit changing on the next episode. So take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.